Good evening, my martial art friends all around the world. I've got a question about Makiwara, which is a piece of board used for practicing your techniques. And let's see how we got it made. So you can see this is how it's built. You got a Makiwara here, and this is just a piece of timber as the base. After I dug it out, I chipped some of the paint off. So I have to make sure I cover this so they don't rot easily. It's been treated, but if I can paint it, I can make it last for a lot longer. So I'm digging a hole here. First I remove the lawn neatly using a shovel so I can cut it nice and neat. After I got this done, I can bury the grass back. I don't have to use seeds and wait for the lawn to grow again. Next thing I need is a spade. So you can just dig a hole, and after that you just keep moving it in there, all directions. And then you move out the soil, move the soil bit by bit. My dog here would love to help if they could. You can see it, very curious, very interested in what I'm doing. They're like, why are you digging a hole? I can dig a hole. Yep. Then we move it out. So as I move, I can measure the depths, stick this thing in roughly about here, put my hand here and go and measure my Makiwara. So we are looking at fairly close. I need about 1 inch. Then I'm there. I think I'm ready. I'm gonna put this in. Fire in the hole. Not really fire, but that's actually about my height. I got a mirror here. You can see in the reflection, it's about my height. Hello, that's Sony Action Cam. Anyway, Jordan, right in the face. This is my height. Now, a lot of people will stick another piece of timber across horizontally, because after you stick this timber in and you punch it and kick it, it's gonna move backwards, right? And it's gonna push the soil to either side. If you have a piece of timber goes across here, you can stop it because it's another force. But I didn't do it because I don't really want any joints in here. Joints is where the moisture can get in and start to rot your base. I like it to stay here for as long as possible. So I put sand into the gap. After I punch and kick it, it creates a gap. I just keep filling up with sand. This way I can keep my base as a whole. And this Makiwara is very special. It's a very special gift, and I like to use it for however long I can. So as you can see, the grass is only up to here. I would like to make sure it's above the grass. I don't want it to rot down here. So I don't think I can easily break it by just practicing it. Usually Makiwara break because it's rotten from the base. My Makiwara is not in the ground. This piece of timber is, but this is not valuable to me. Makiwara is. So we're gonna enjoy this. And we're gonna put some soil in there first.
Soil this?
Yep. Yep, and then we are going to use a level to level it. Drew, can you hold this for me? Hold this. Hold it. Stand here. Okay, put this down so you can balance. Hold it. Good boy. You got it?
Maybe I hold it.
Okay.
Maybe you hold it.
Okay, I hold it. So the soil in there is very soft, right? It's not as dense as the normal soil. So what I'm doing is I'm pouring water into it to make sure all the soil gets pushed down. If it's only a little bit, you can stamp on the soil, try to make it dense, but it's like 1.5 meter deep. So I'm letting water do the work. Then I pour more soil into it. All this soil that came out of the ground, I got a barrel here and a bin full of soil. That's how much soil came out, but there's no way you can fit them all back in there. But we try to fit as much as possible so it's nice and solid. This is Makiwara. Simply put, it's a piece of timber. It's custom made to suit your needs. So if you want it to be taller, you can, but usually people have it about their height. So this piece of board is about the same height as myself. Let's look at the measurement of the board. So if you want to make one, you can go ahead and make one. On the top here, you can see the white parts. It's about 1 centimeter. Okay, and it gradually gets thicker and thicker downwards. And at the bottom of the board, you are looking at roughly 3.5 centimeter. This is how my sensei made it, and it's a gift for me. I have seen a few of this snap and break because usually people have it quite long, and this piece of board just goes straight into the ground, right? They bury it. So it's not because people are so powerful they break their board. It can happen if the board is cheap quality, like pine. But most of the time, it's rotten from the base. So after a period of time, the rotten wood would be too weak to sustain your blow, sustain your punch and kicks. So so basically from the bottom, my sensei just made it thinner and thinner from just one side. Okay, this board was made for my sensei himself. He is a really tall man, close to 2 meters tall. So the board was about that tall. I had to cut it, trim it, and I used another piece of timber below it to bury it into the ground. And that is how I can maintain this piece of Makiwara very well. It's nearly 20 years since I've had it, so I intend to keep it for as long as possible because it holds a very special meaning to me. It's gift by my sensei. It's sentimental value thing. So after you have the board installed, all you need is a piece of sponge. If you want, you can use a cheap $10 sandal. You can do that. That's all right. Traditionally, people used to wrap the timber around straws, but that's just old school. That would just take the skin off your knuckles. So here's duct tape and high quality sponge. This foam is actually used for automotive. This can sustain like really hot heat from the engine, and it's manifolds. So this thing can take up a lot of beating, even from the UV and rain. I've had this on my board for 4 years. The color hasn't even faded, so that's really good. So you can try those ones. Hey, I'm happy to make this video about Makiwara because it's one of my favorite. Compare Makiwara to a common exercise tool. It's basically a hard timber wrapped around a very thin layer of sponge or something soft. So it's very similar to, this may sound brutal, it's very similar to hitting a human. So whenever you hit somebody, there's a very thin layer of flesh, but inside there you immediately hit the skull or bone. So it's quite realistic, and it's excellent for conditioning because the hard wood actually springs back at you. So after you hit it, it springs back. So if you were to pulse your knuckle, your arm, or your legs on the timber, you need to be able to sustain the resistance coming back at you. So if you have a kinked wrist or anything like that, you immediately know your technique is incorrect because you hurt yourself. It's also very good at toughening your knuckles, elbow, if you strike with your elbow or anything like that. So out of all the tools I use for practice and conditioning, it's definitely one of my favorite. My Makiwara was made from European ash. It's a type of hardwood. If you want to make one for yourself, pick something that's hard and durable. Big thanks to all the karate masters' wisdom. We have Makiwara we can use today. And the big thanks to my sensei Dieter Egg. Because of you, I got this Makiwara that has been with me for 20 years and a lot more years to come. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if there's anything else you want to watch. I'll try my best to produce them, and I'll see you the next round. Keep on training. Us.